Hello, hello, and welcome to the Magical Witchy World TV. I am Star Ravenhawk.
And I am Rhonda Allen. Welcome back, everyone.
Yeah, and tonight we are proud to welcome Dr. Tiffany Marie Butler to the Magical Witchy World TV.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi, Tiffany. So glad
Hello
to have you
and
here with us tonight.
welcome.
Yay!
Thanks for
We're
having me.
very excited to have you. Welcome, welcome. So, before we jump into our program tonight, where we have our questions that we ask all of our guests, I want to introduce you to all of our viewers. So, I'll go through your bio first, okay?
Okay.
All right. So, Dr. Tiffany Marie can be described as a larger than life, charismatic, yet down to earth mystical personality who shares her insights and gifts with those who have come to her for advice. Gifted as a reader since childhood, she employs several of the mystical arts as well as her natural gifts as a seer in a way that is both entertaining as well as insightful. Descending from a family heritage of Germanic and Irish descent, her family lineage opened up the doors to the shamanic world, studies in paganism and witchcraft in becoming a high priestess in 2002. Now she is the high priestess of the Raven Hollows pagan community. Tiffany graduated from the Center for Natural Wellness Massage Therapy School in 2005, starting her personal practice in 2006. While growing her massage business, she received her life coaching certification in 2008, followed up by her yoga teaching training in 2009. She studied under Joy Alder of the Barbara Brennan School, where she accomplished her Psychology of the Body apprenticeship training in 2013, receiving her I knew I was going to do this. Yusui Shiki Roho Reiki Mastership at TLC Healing Center in 2015 and finishing her doctorate in metaphysical science in 2019. That pushed open the doors to the other realms even further.
Hey,
So, Tiffany Marie, you can be reached at, and I know we're going to be scrolling this on our screen later so everyone can find you, but you can be reached at ravenhollowranch.com. We will also share any other location, website, Insta, what have you, as we go through our conversation.
yeah,
Okay.
Well, welcome and welcome. So happy to
yeah,
have you here tonight.
yeah.
Thank you.
I know, right? We have not seen her for a while in
A
person, so
long
that
time.
was nice.
Yeah.
All righty, Han. So this is one of the things that we love asking people at the very beginning, so we could kind of know where to go with the conversation after that. So
Okay.
depending on the progression, people come in and they call themselves something at the beginning, and then they get, they go through that however years, because most of us are coming through many years of this, and then
Right.
they end up
Mhm.
calling themselves a particular thing, and they stick with that because that's just who they are. So what would you call yourself, or
Oh
what would be
gosh.
the progression for you, that kind of a thing?
What would I call myself? Um, Sometimes a hot mess. No.
That's honest. That is so honest.
Hey,
Hey
I
girl, we
love
are
it.
all calling ourselves a lot of that
Okay.
in between there.
That's
Right.
right.
Yes, we will.
Um, I am well, I'm a shamanic witch, I guess if you want to see what I call myself, and we're gonna talk about the witchly world. I'm a shamanic practitioner when it comes to my way of witchcraft, you could say. Um, I'm a philosopher of mythologies. It's where I really got my doctorate mostly in is mythologies and the understanding of energies and entities. Um, and some would say I'm a little bit of a dark witch. Uh, but that is only because I know how to remove the dark, get rid of the dark, and help you purge yourself and, dive into that shadow work that nobody wants to play with.
Right.
Right on.
So I guess, if I'm going to call myself something, I'm a shamanic witch. I'm
Okay.
good with that
Awesome.
one.
Awesome. Thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Love that. So, looking back at your journey, do you is there something that you can recognize? What brought you to this world? What brought you into this life that you're living as a shamanic witch? What brought you here?
Oh, death.
Mm,
Uh,
tell us.
the age of 13, I died, and everybody swore, oh, it was the Mother Mary that put you back in your body, Tiff. And I was like, that's not what she looked like.
Mm-hmm.
She had a large face, dark hair, and I went to Clark Art. They were having an installation of the goddesses, and I saw a painting of the goddess Athena. And that day, my mother bought me the Encyclopedia of Mythologies, and I didn't put it down.
Wow,
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. And then 1997, I met my high priestess, and that was pretty much about it.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
clearly delineated
Yeah.
when this happened. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
when I died, I remember looking at her and saying, I don't want to go back. And they're not nice to me there. And she said, you have to go back. You have too much work to do.
Mm,
Yeah.
Usually tell you that, right? And not all you're not all sudden welcoming to that, what do you mean I have a lot to do? I'm tired.
I was 13. I was like, I got
all
work to
right.
do. What? Huh?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Too early.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so now that kind of takes us into another segue, which we can ask you, like from your point of view, what does it mean to be a shamanic witch or a witch, depending, on where you want to
Mm,
take that. Yeah. What
that
does
is one of my favorite questions.
Mm,
Um, well, breaking down the word witch, first we'll go there. And it comes from the Greek language of wise teacher. And then, the shamanic part is the understanding of not just witchcraft and ritual and giving homage to the gods and the goddesses, but bringing the shamanic part of it in with the healing with the ancestors and the totems and really working with, the upper world and the lower world and knowing how to blend the ego and the self, the shadow and the light.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's when people ask me, like, what does it mean to be a witch? And I'm like, it's to wake up every day and walk your path of in the name of the Lord and the Lady.
right.
And know that we are
Beautiful.
here to help heal and bring light. Yep.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So it sounds as though truly your life is full, it's rich, it's abundant with this work. On that vein, how are you working this magic into your everyday life?
Mm.
How do you factor your practice into your or magic into your lifestyle?
Okay. I am a get up in the morning and light and intention kind of woman.
Beautiful.
uh
Mm-hmm.
Also, I mean, my work is my magic. I offer soul retrievals, tarot card readings, energy healings. I also do a lot of guided work with helping people speak with their ancestors and their loved ones. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and putting on witch festivals, throwing together a seance last minute, being able to help others see beyond the veil is really what like my day-to-day practice is and what I get paid for. Beautiful.
Right. That's
Right. Right
that's
on.
I
awesome.
joke all the time what they made fun of me for in high school because my nose was always in a pagan book somehow, some way. I was reading BJ Conway, Scott Cunningham, Silver Raven Wolf, all those back in the day, constantly like this. And they're like, oh, she thinks she's a witch. And yeah, no, now I can say, yeah, that's what happened.
In
Yeah.
your face, in your face. That is awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So with that in mind too. I mean, you kind of said it, but tell us a bit about what's important to you in general
Hmm.
Hmm.
as that witch. What's important to you?
You know, being, I guess they've kind of dubbed me up here like the witch of the Capital District because I throw the witches festivals up here. So with having that said about me and people coming to me for advice and stuff, a lot of my path and what I've been kind of putting out for everybody is making sure that everyone's finding the right path for themselves,
Hmm.
not pushing, pushing them in a direction that isn't good for them, maybe pulling them away from a direction that's not good for them.
Right.
Um, Having all of the tools and tricks and crystals and everything at the festivals so that people have what they need for their own personal practice.
Mm-mm.
Um, a lot of people just shoot me messages and say, Tiff, I'm having these kinds of issues. What do I need? And I'll shoot them over the crystals that they need, and maybe even I'll send them over to an herbalist I know or an aromatherapist that I know. And I'm like, and I'm really about, for me, it's creating a good community up here where we
Hmm.
all help each other out, and it's not witch against witch; it's witch for witch.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah,
good mode to take on, because
yeah,
Absolutely.
unfortunately, a lot
And
of
that,
times you feel like you don't have the time to do some of that. But yeah, you try the best you can.
yeah. Yeah.
and it's so, and that takes us, you literally spoke to a
Yeah,
topic that we want to touch on next, which is the work that you, or your relationship right now with community. How does community, what does community mean to you right now? What is the work within the community?
Oh, the work within the community is the reason why I put the festivals on, so everybody knows that there's people, like-minded people. At this last one I just had at the Harvest Fest, I had a woman walk up to me. She's from Kentucky. She just
Mm,
moved up here.
yeah.
Gorgeous little witchly outfit. She walked up and I was like, "Look at you. Damn." And she was like, "Thank you so much. Where I'm from, this isn't accepted." And I was like, "Well, welcome to the community.
yeah,
Get to know people. These guys over here have group and ritual this way. Um, Over here at the ranch, we have, ceremony. I've put on little events over the years. Like when they canceled Halloween trick or treating in 2020,
Hmm.
I was like, not on my watch.
Hmm.
So I had a witch's open house. Had a couple of vendors in my yard, a couple of readers, had candy for the kids, just kept our distance. Worked out great. I've had little kids come up to me over the years and go, "Oh, you're the lady that didn't let them cancel Halloween." I was like, "Yes, you're right, I am." Um, and, I think community is really important.
right.
I mean, I
Yeah.
know I'm associated with you guys, also Milwaukee's pagan group, another one out in Arizona, and making sure that the community is strong and it's got elders that want to help it grow.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
that's a big deal.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's huge,
yeah,
yeah,
it is.
and I think especially coming out of these past couple of years, the importance of community
Yeah,
in the various ways that it shows up.
yeah,
It is key. I'm finding people really want
and
that.
not just
So,
being Facebook witches, which is vile, can be really vile
right,
sometimes.
right.
Uh,
Right.
but that kind of segues into this question: what would you like to see us as witches accomplish?
Ooh. All right, so I'll throw this at you. I have had this idea of putting out a working uh, collectively as witches. If we put out a working to turn the tides of the collective going to the darker side,
Mm,
stopping that, putting out that intention as one instead of you, me, your friends, this, that, like maybe make it one night, see how many of us we could do it to kind of change the tides and where we're kind of heading.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
and also to each witch individually, making sure that they're doing what they can to help Mother Earth heal before she gets any more angry at us and just takes us out.
Mhm.
She's
Pretty
she's
much.
angry. She's pissed off.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're seeing
Yeah,
that.
beyond, and I could see why. We're seeing a lot of things happening, but
Oh
that's
god.
great intent and everything. So that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
One of
perhaps
these
that
days you're
will
gonna
be
see it.
manifested.
I'll try and do like a one
Exactly.
night kind of thing. Let's get
Yeah.
it done.
Yep.
Right on, right on.
Cool.
Just a shout out to those who are in the chat. We did have a couple comments. Hello, Rob. Thank you again for joining
Yeah.
us.
Thank you.
Um, just to get to now, this is the suggestion that you just made, or the idea that you have about creating this one night of all of us gathering to do this working. Tell us about the projects that you have coming up or what you're thinking about in addition to perhaps that one working. Anything else that you're working on or things that are coming up? You just had I mean, we're stepping straight into Samhain. So, do you have anything coming up for this season? Anything coming up early next year?
Project that you
Um,
have in mind, like
I
a
have been I've
extension.
been quietly working with a friend of mine on doing Raven Hollow Academy for magical creatures, teaching children.
Ah, nice.
Beautiful.
Really getting children more involved with themselves and understanding how to control their emotions, and which, well, your emotions are your elements inside yourself. Um, auras, teaching kids about journeying, crystals, that kind of thing. Um,
Hmm.
Coming up for myself, I'm teaching some private classes on shamanic journeying, how to scry. Um, well, I don't really necessarily teach tarot, but when I teach scrying, I teach a little bit of tarot with that. Um, let's see what else. Well, I've got the Rockin' Oddities, which I don't know what that's trying to teach people. I think it's just teaching people how to have a good time. Um,
That's important too.
yeah,
That's important too.
but even in February, every February, I have a Winter Witches Festival, and I have people come. I've had people come from Salem. I've had other people come from around the state to teach. So it's not just a
Mhm.
festival where you can go and buy things, but you can also learn. And the classes I actually make for free.
That's
So you
all.
don't have to pay extra for the classes. You just pay to get into the
Fabulous.
event, and it's all
Right.
part of it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's the way it should be.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Ritual wise, I've been kind of moving about, so I haven't necessarily had a spot to have open ritual in the past couple of months, but I'm working on that again.
Yeah, yeah. I know how
Yeah.
it feels getting things back to pre-pandemic, or as I say, the before times.
The before times.
Kind of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that kind of segues from projects into any events that you have coming up, the end, maybe to the end of this year, or maybe planning for next year. Any particular events that you think you'd like to throw out for people to look out for?
And where they
Well,
are, because where
Yeah,
are you?
so like I said, October 20th and 29th, we're doing the Rockin' Oddities Comic Con here in Saratoga, New York. I
yeah.
have 13 bands, 65 vendors, haunted house, entertainers. It's going to be quite the to do. Um, Looking forward to that. I'm actually the MC. I'm not doing readings or anything, so that's going to be kind of fun for me. I get to kind of bring out a little bit of my cosplay character.
Right.
And then after that, it'll just be the Winter Witches Festival, which will be in February in Guilderland, New York. Date has not been picked yet. I usually don't pick my date until November.
Right.
Okay.
So we're gonna do that one. And then next year, we're gonna do a Summer Fire Witches Festival up here. The fire performers are
Beautiful.
back and they want to play. And yeah, and we have the birds of prey that come out. We've got hawks and
Beautiful.
owls, and oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last one we just had, the Harvest Fest, the hawk was just beside himself all day long. He kept hanging himself upside down.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
That
awesome. That is
sounds
awesome.
fabulous.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
So
the
the one,
events are really nice.
yeah, the one that you're doing, you said in Saratoga. What date is
Mhm.
that one again?
October 28th and 29th.
Okay, October 28th and 29th.
Beautiful.
I was
Yeah.
trying to see if I can go to that, but I'm gonna be I'm gonna try to see what I can do. I have to try, be back here also for mine, Samhain ritual. Okay, so that
Right
sounds
on.
really, really wonderful. I'm looking forward to all of those things.
Sounds fabulous. Exactly. So I want to say we have your website scrolling. Are there other locations, an Insta or Facebook or any place else that people need to that they should go to find you?
Best place to find me actually at the moment is on Facebook, and it's Tiffany Marie Butler. Straight across, you can
Perfect.
usually the photo you see is uh, me carrying a lantern. It almost kind of looks like the hermit card.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, yeah. So check
Listen,
yeah,
out all of her stuff and everywhere that she's mentioned, and try to see if you guys could attend.
yeah,
yes. Thank
definitely.
you so much for
Yeah,
joining us tonight,
Oh,
Tiffany.
thanks for
Thank you
having
for
me.
taking the time. It is awesome
we,
seeing you
we would
again.
gladly have you
It's
back.
awesome
Yes.
seeing you again. Yes.
Yes.
So
And
Definitely.
much
such
love.
this is really great seeing her again after our last time being together. So
Yes.
really, really nice. Thank you so
Definitely.
much.
And I just want to say and acknowledge that we also have Kevin in the chat who is saying hello and thank you and bonjour from the bayous of
Oh,
Louisiana. So thank you for joining us.
Yay.
Thank you so much again, Tiffany. And
you're
and
welcome.
now we just want to share a little word from our sponsors.
All right. So tonight we're back with the continuation of the decans. And essentially we were thinking of doing three, but it's kind of long and insightful and in depth. So for us to be able to do justice to each person's decan, we're gonna stick with just doing the Virgo and the Libra tonight, and we'll do the next two ones at the next Friday. All right. So I hope you guys will appreciate this because it kind of really goes in depth into your particular signs and where you are located based on your degrees. So
Yes.
right. So we can
Take
go.
out your notebook and your
Yes,
pen because
and
we have
yeah,
more
she's right. She's
info.
so right. Keep track of it because, and if you've missed your own in the other ones before this, because it's going in order, you're welcome to go back and see those and write down the things based on your
Yes.
sign that and see if it relates to you and has given you a bit more insight into who you are and where you want to go. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's helpful in seeing things
Yes.
because no two Virgo is alike or no two Libra is alike or different things. That and this is the reason why. Okay, so
Mhm.
tonight we're going to begin with the Virgo Decan 1. Okay, and this one is also one of the earth elements, and it is based on August 23rd to September 1st. So anyone born within that time, this is you. Okay, your Decan
Mhm.
1. And you are in the position of 0 to 10 degrees, meaning the first part of that sign. Okay, the Decan 1. So the Virgo Decan 1 is ruled by the sun in the Chaldean system and Mercury, Virgo by triplicity. The sun navigates through the constellation from, again, as I mentioned, 0 to 10 degrees, Virgo going through the Great Bear, the Dragon, and the Sextants. Virgo Decan 1 is an odd section of the zodiac since it carries mostly stars that are far from the ecliptic except for just one alpha star in Sextans. The Virgo Decan runs again all the way through those. Individuals born under this decan will present as classic Virgos, practical, ambitious, and obsessed with self improvement because they are ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication and intellect, which is more the trait emphasized in Virgo's Decan 1. Okay. So
Mhm.
tending to be deep thinkers, also predictable, reliable, helpful, and somewhat nitpicky. But that's okay. That's what they're meant to be. They are detail oriented and feel more comfortable when they're home, when in their home spaces, and their schedules and relationships are all in order. And a lot of us are like that, actually. But it doesn't get to that, but it is our own order. You know what I mean? They do not do well with messes, chaos, or criticism. Mercury also influences Virgos to be organized, detail oriented, intellectual, curious, and always striving to be on time. Mercury's rule will also make that person born in this range versatile, inventive, and malleable, possessing a disciplined nature, trustworthiness, and generosity. You will have a tendency to be very methodical, disciplined, and ordered in specific areas of your life. These people are a little more far out than your average Virgo. Some of them almost flip over to their opposite in Pisces. These seers usually develop their sensitivity after a period of suffering, dutiful caring, especially after a broken heart. None of the stars here are particularly easy or fun in any way at all. It doesn't mean that these folks are always dull or miserable, they just won't be your happy go lucky type. Instead, these Virgo Decan ones has an ironic, dry sense of humor. They're also good at turning very tragic situations into something humorous. Dark humor is good with them. There is a violent, brooding, malignant side to this area that can manifest in aggression, cruelty, and malevolence. So that's something to look out for when pushed. Set against tropical Virgo's equally strong will to do good, these stars force you to make clear, good, or evil choices on their heirs, whoever they leave behind. So fair warning, it would be well for those born under them to choose their philosophy with care, for once a belief is adopted, it is likely to be followed to the very end, that bitter end. The stars between 6 to 8 degrees Virgo have a Saturn Neptune flavor, which goes mostly for the whole of Decan 1s. The sextants within Decan 1 is used for navigating Neptune's sometimes treacherous waters, which means these Virgo sailors maintain a healthy level of skepticism alongside their mysticism. They are generally seen as guardian angels, Persephones, and seers. In other words, taking on the aspect of Persephone's mysticism. They are very hands on healers, practical magicians, and phenomenal list makers. Most of the stars in Virgo Decan 1 are in the maternal mother bear sign side of it, showing a nursing quality here as well. They can very easily become martyrs and have to watch that they don't become self sacrificial, that they lose themselves entirely. They can become very drained by others because they have difficulty saying no. They find it difficult to place limits for themselves. When their energy is totally depleted, they will then become resentful and bitter. So, warning, Virgo Decan 1 can go over the top by unleashing harsh and hurtful words, especially to their mates. They blame others for the consequences of their own failure to set clear boundaries and can be easy prey for energy vampires because of their need to be of service. Virgo Decan 1's archetype is Ceres or Persephone archetype. As she travels down to the underworld, she empathizes strongly with the cries of the dying and the dead, making Virgo Decan 1s very good at working with those who are grieving, becoming the opiate of their patients, friends, lovers, friend, parents, and strays. In other words, they will deplete themselves by spreading themselves so thin. Okay? When returning from working in the underworld, you will have earned your crown and become your own sovereign, making you suitable as counselors of death or death doulers, helping others make the transition from addiction to enlightenment. In their personal life, they can be hypercritical of those they love the most. The criticism is meant to be constructive and is done out of love and care, not of demeaning you. Beware, you may become an opiate for many, causing a drain on yourself while in service to strangers. Your sun, Virgo Decan ones, will find you have nothing left to care for your own family, making your relationships suffer because of this. Some of you may find that you are better off without a mate. That happens.
Mhm.
So, giving you examples of these Decan ones: Caligula, Lyndon B. Johnson, John McCain, Prince Albert Consort, Mother Teresa, Tim Burton, Sean Connery, Richard Gere, Ingrid Bergman, Salma Hayek, Keanu Reeves, oh, I love him, River Phoenix, Cameron Diaz, Lily Tomlin, Macaulay Culkin, Michael Jackson, Barry Gibb, Billy Ray Cyrus, Charlie Parker, Leanne Rimes, Shania Twain, Gene Simmons, I love him too, and Mia Zapata. All right,
Fabulous.
take it
Let's
over, Decan One,
let's go on to our Virgo Decan
two
2,
rather.
September 1 to the 10th. Yes. This is be considered, this is between 10 and 20 degrees now, Decan 2. Virgo Decan 2 is ruled by Venus and Saturn, so a Capricorn triplicity. The sun navigates through the constellations from 10 degrees to 20 degrees Virgo, going through the lion, the great ship, the great bear, and the hunting hounds. Most of the stars here have a Saturn Venus nature, which is going to make them all rather bittersweet. Being born under the Capricorn decan and sub-ruled by Saturn, the taskmaster of the zodiac, these folk are almost guaranteed for success in their lifetime and do best with praise and accolades to validate their life experience. They are hardworking, resilient, determined and innovative, doing whatever it takes to reach their goals. They can come off as standoffish, organized, materialistic, and a bit of a people pleaser. But Saturn gives Venus a bleeding heart, and it can also make this person somewhat of a masochist. Virgo Decan 2 can push people away and then wonder why those people sometimes stay away. They seem to need to test their partner's backbones and push them to the limits. Only the strongest will stick around if there is something worth staying for. Otherwise, their partners could become masochists themselves. The Persephone myth, then, turns up here, just as in Virgo Decan 1, but becoming even richer and darker. This Venus ruled decan is more like Babylonian Ishtar, the goddess of love and war, or Venus retrograde. So, seen as virtuous in shame and great stalkers. This is interesting. Virgo Decan 2 have a quick temper, which endangers personal relationships and their place in the world. They are usually loners. Tales of ancient heroes and glorious exploits lead some to extreme conservatism or reactionary politics. When combined with the purification instinct of tropical Virgo, when combined with the purification instinct of tropical Virgo, it can become skewered into distrust or hatred of outsiders, even to fanatic xenophobia. While others denounce prejudice and injustice, challenge persecutions, fight tyranny, and lead rebellions against it. So you can see Virgos can be on either side of that realm. This can be in literal battles or through writing and the arts. Virgo decan can be great stalkers, but they don't want anything that comes to them too easily. They feel they have to go through hell and back, severe trauma, and a mental breakdown before they deserve to win anything. However, when they do have their prize in hand, they will stick with it forever. This is because usually it takes them forever and a few broken bones to get their dream, so they won't do that again in a hurry. Scarred by life, these subjects will actually be quite proud of their badges of torture. The sad thing is that Virgo Decan 2 doesn't really have to put itself through 50 Shades of Grey in order to win acclaim. They just think they do. The problem is that they don't believe they deserve anything unconditionally. Virgo Decan 2 are much better at giving than receiving. So when they do get the perfect job or partner handed to them on a plate, they are immediately suspicious. Their uncomfortable shuffling is misread as rejection so that the gift is whisked away and offered it to a more eager recipient. Of course, after that, our abandoned damsel can then validate her melancholia. What did I do to deserve this? Not love yourself enough. That's what. Be warned, Virgo Decan 2 don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Again, these folk need to take a tip from their neighbors in tropical Leo. Learn to love yourself. Ask for favors if you need them. Often, the only way Virgo Decan 2 can get any help is by falling ill. They can turn them into this can turn them into hypochondriacs. They may not realize their subconscious is making them sick just because they need some of the nurturing they so readily give to others. Talented Virgo Decan 2s attract powerful plutonic mates because they are the only people who can handle their prickly and temperamental side. There's some truth to this. Low vibration I'm sorry. Low vibration Virgo Decan 2s will just attract codependent, hypercritical, and abusive partners who stay with them because they are too lazy to or insecure to leave. This, of course, breeds resentment and a whole lot of blame and victimization on both sides. The sun is not very strong here because this is a planet that wants to shine in a sign that would rather work behind the scenes. Mostly these natives identify very strongly with their work, but with that, there is the danger of if they lose their job, that they feel like they do not exist. Decan 2 Virgos is most definitely the service sign, and the sun's mission is to do just that. Their product has to be perfect and is very much a symbol of who they are, so it has to work. They work best creating something tangible because they enjoy the actual physical labor of producing their wares. Many Decan 2 Virgos will be the unsung heroes that do great healing work but are shy of having to stand on stage and receive any awards. These natives will probably excel in working as the wounded healer. This means that these folk can do very well helping addicts come out of self pity and victim mentality by serving as a role model. Sun Virgo 2 work very well as sponsors in, say, a 12-step program or doing voluntary work after they have retired and have a comfortable pension to live on. Warning, these folk can cause suffering to others, but only if they are bitter in themselves because they are leading a life that is not is not gainfully employed. Those evolved types, though, aligned with their life calling, will simply be too busy being productive and have no time for petty and resentful behavior. So let's give you a couple examples of some of those Sun Virgo 2s. Bernie Sanders, Bashar al-Assad, September 11 attacks, Ivan the Terrible, Peter Sellers, Michael Moore, Charlie Sheen, Maurice Chevalier, Hugh Grant, Raquel Welch, Rachel Ward, is that
Yeah.
it? Colin Firth, Guy Ritchie, Michael Keaton, Freddie Mercury,
Yay.
Buddy Holly, yes, Beyonce,
Yay, I like
Barry White, yes. My daughter just saw her, by the way.
it.
Barry White, Buddy Holly, Pink, Gloria Gaynor, Patsy Cline, Los Angeles, and
Pit Jolie.
Pitt, Joey,
Brangelina.
and
That's what you want to call
Brangelina. Well, okay, Brangelina. There we go. Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So Virgo Decan threes. You guys are born between September 11th and the 21st. Okay. And you're the Taurian Decans. Virgo Decan 3 is ruled by Mercury and Venus, the Taurus triplicity. The sun navigates through the constellations from 20 degrees to 29 degrees Virgo, sailing through the lion, the air pump, the great ship, the cup, and the great bear. Here we find the famous sharp minds, researchers, perfectionists, and organizers. With Venus in play, they bring in the artistic, warm hearted, mature, generous, loving, shy, and timid side. They possess a reserved nature and an artistic sense and sensitivity. In addition to this, you are stable, solid, and jovial. You are the epitome of optimistic thinking, mental and intellectual stability, and positivity. You will show more determination and will show how much power warm hearted, mature, generous, loving, shy, and timid people can be. There are some harsh and unfortunate stars here associated with natural disasters and death, alongside the Holy Grail and the ship's billowing sails as it goes through those times. Decan 3 Virgos also contains sharp contrast since it is subruled by Mercury, the mediator between the earth and the underworld. It's very black and white there. These decans needs to take control of regulating oneself, or something from the outside will do it in a more dramatic way. So they don't want to have something from the outside do that. So they want to be able to control that. Some similar to the effects of a Uranus transit. So you want to make sure you control that more of your doing. Mercury ruled Virgo decantry live on their nerves, literally. So they're always doing on the spike end kind of a thing. They are seen as healing harlots and skeptics. Their mind is so white hot you can sometimes see quicksilver flashing through their eyeballs. That made me laugh.
Love
The
it.
problem with having such a strong mind is that their belief program then controls everything, which is why you have to choose your philosophy very wisely. The problem with having such a strong mind is that their belief program, will control everything. A skeptical Virgo decantry will be very hard to rewire, and some find it really hard to trust their intuition, even though they actually have a very fine prophetic ability. They doubt themselves. The big challenge for Virgo decantry is getting both sides of the brain into working balance. They should be
Mm,
naturals at this, but somehow our left brain dominated world, in this left brain dominated world, they have allowed that sharp logical side of their head to take over, and not even for their own benefit will they see what's right in front of them. Virgo, they are prime workers since they are dutiful, self-sacrificing, have fantastic brains, and just what the power elite prey on. You can
mm,
bet that successful IT companies are stuffed full of Virgo decantries. They are drones working their magic while their Pluto bosses take all the credit and lap up the profits. So
mm,
snap out of it and stop letting them take credit for your deeds and the monies with it. These sensitive folks anticipate people's needs so well, like Persephone could not ignore the pleas for help from the dying souls. So Virgo decantries love to be needed and be of practical use. Therefore, it's very hard for them to turn down an unscrupulous employer who tells them they can make a difference. They are so cherished and appreciated, but we can't pay that much because they wish to hold on to all that profit. Eventually, though, Virgo's dark side boils to the surface when they realize that everyone has been sucking their energy dry. And sometimes this wouldn't happen until they get a serious illness, which becomes their wake up call to get out of the rat race and start their own shit and build their own small empire. Virgo decantries are the zodiac's natural healers because Mercury is the god of medicine after all. And of course, Mercury is the natural ruler of Virgo as a whole, anyways. The stars in the crater here are gifts passed down through generations of healers. The healing can be in the form of art, film, song, music, poetry, as well as medicine, traditional or alternative. It is vitally important that Virgo decantry keeps themselves as clean as possible, as they are also the great purifiers. This means not overindulging in the toxins of junk food, drugs, and alcohol. You can enjoy it, but don't go overboard with it. Indulging in
mhm,
drugs diminishes or the Virgo three's protective aura, which can be detrimental to them because especially since they need to maintain strong psychic armor. Otherwise, they find it difficult to maintain their boundaries. The weaker their protection, the
mhm,
more likely they are to get railroaded into reckless rescues. They can really get pulled into the underworld and fall into the trap of becoming the addict themselves or criminal that they were trying to save. Virgo decantries can be the victim or savior. The cup in crater is a holy grail and gives them savior potential. The less fortunate stars in the lion will play the victim. Water is very strong here with decantries. Whether you drink it, bathe in it, cleanse in it, all in all its form, it is the water, the sea that allows Virgo decantry to heal and purge the toxins and toxic relationships from their lives. Travel is important for this decan, so especially since Mercury represents transport but is working with the influence of the constellation of the ship. So they will enjoy that, especially on their most important thing, water. These
mhm,
folk learn. best from physical journeys rather than just reading about it. They have to make the pilgrimage, spend 3 days in the desert, feel the blood, sweat, and tears of their purging, because this will get them out of their heads and into their bodies. Which brings us to the all important sex. Yes, Virgos are sexy, sometimes obsessively so. And it can lead to sex addiction into the sex addiction territory, because Virgo Decan threes make the best sacred prostitutes, tantric practitioners, and sex therapists. Woohoo!
Right on.
They can be very promiscuous too, just for the hell of it. Or they can be totally celibate, more in keeping with the
Mhm.
traditionally prissy Virgo stereotype. That's not me, that's just the way they see it. Virgo Decan 3 can be the best or the very worst lovers, depending on how open their hearts are. If they are just brain driven, it's all going to be porn and mechanical stuff. In, out, just doing what they need to do. But when
Mhm.
Virgo 3 truly develops their emotional intelligence, their sensitivity can produce kundalini shattering type of sex. Okay, head to toe orgasms that easily rival the more famous sex gods Scorpio, Aries, and Taurus. Hey, woo! Sounds like overheated. Don't forget the side reel overlap of the constellation of Leo with its angry swat of its lion's tail. So Decan 3 Virgos can dish out punishment and authoritarianism as well as any Aries, Capricorn, or Leo. They have Isis like devotion to their mates, even when that mate has plutonic addiction issues. So I'll give you some examples of them. Elizabeth I, Genghis Khan, Confucius, Prince Harry, Eva Braun, Oliver Stone, Lauren Bacall, Sophia Loren, Greta Garbo, Larry Hagman, Bill Murray, Jeremy Irons, Tommy Lee Jones, Mickey Rourke, Peter Falk, Amy Winehouse, Julio Iglesias, Joan Jett, Twiggy, Stephen King, H.G. Wells, Agatha Christie, Roald Dahl, and David Copperfield. Right,
Wow.
yeah.
So that is all three of the decans for Virgo. Now,
Yes.
quickly jumping into
Libra.
Libra. Libra decan one. This is now an air element sign. Decan one is ruled by the moon and Venus. It's a Libra triplicity. The sun saunters through the constellations 0 to 9 degrees Libra of the herdsman, the dragon, Berenice's hare, the virgin, and the great ship. The combination of the popular moon and charming tropical Libra gives us the zodiac's courtesans, diplomats, and artists. Ruled by Venus, lover of luxury, beauty, you love the very nature and idea of love. They can be jealous and need to make a statement in life. These people are adept at bringing peace and harmony into the most fraught situations. They have a reputation of being the good guys, your best friend in the whole world, the one who you can call at 3 a.m. in the morning and the softly spoken voice will say, "That's fine, hon." Are they perfect? Well, not quite. Like all the decans, there will be a negative side. All this sugary sweetness can give one diabetes. So, the ironic thing about Libra Decan 1 is that sometimes their push for peace can attract very aggressive and mean mates. Either that or violence just seems to blow up around them for no reason at all. Libra has a horror of arguments. They don't like to offend, so they tell lots of little white lies, and I mean lots. The danger is that they could all become one big fat lie. So the little whites can become one big fat lie, which they then reveal itself at just the wrong moment. When this happens, our perfect Venus turns into her nemesis Eris. Eris, the goddess of discord, which in our perfectly balanced and aesthetically lovely Libra is Libra's shadow, of course. But Eris is just as much a part of Libra as Venus, just as the seventh house is both partners and open enemies, seen in crowds and triangular relationships. So, this Libra energy you can see in crowds and triangular relationships. This is where our lovely Librans get accused of betrayal and other nasties. They can't help but fall in love with love. So, are branded philanderers, Casanovas, and even harlots. Basically, simply should be saying we should listen. They don't give a fuck and move on. Um, But to Decan 1, demure Librans will be deeply upset by the notion of ever being called a slut or player. They maintain that they were deeply in love with each and every soulmate. That's very different from being a slut or, a player. So they, the reason Libra 1, Decan 1 may say they want conventional marriage is that they loathe being the odd one out. Being the only singleton in a room full of couples is hell for them. Being with the in crowd gives them a real sense of self worth. That also means getting into the right university or intellectual set. They look in the mirror a lot, not because they are particularly vain, but because they are so darn insecure about their appearance. They wrongly think that if they are less than perfect, people will hate them. They seek out and preserve their specialties before they are lost forever in our fast food, high speed, cyber centric world. Libra Decan 1 could own a wonderful specialist library or collection of fine wines. Um, it would be something that becomes more rarefied with age, this particularly these fine wines. Libra Decan 1 appreciates nostalgia. They like to see things ferment and mature over time. They are not in much of a hurry to do anything. Nice and easy does it. Here's a warning. One thing Libra Decan 1 has to watch out for is defaulting to putting a relationship above all else, even when it's a lousy one. So they will default to that, even supporting a bad relationship. The ironic thing, as I said earlier, is that they need freedom more than they think. As a result, they may envy and resent their opposite number Aries for being bold and selfish enough to say no to unwanted advances. Libra Decan ones are inclined to sleep with someone because they bought them dinner. The qualities of Ma'at are strong here. When these folks shine, they really, really shine. These folk indeed are the perfectly charming Libran, the sweetest friend in all the world. Just make sure you do not betray them, because if you do, then their shadow side can spit venom like the best Scorpio. There can be extreme flips over to Eris if you upset Libra's balance. Sun Libra Decan ones could also find themselves partaking in too much of the vine if they are not getting the love they need, which can also pull them into depression. The contrast between happiness and sadness can be pretty sharp, and there is a certain bipolarity here. The bright sun can suddenly flip over to eclipse itself, and its Venus ruler, as the morning star, can go full on Lucifer. Libra Decan ones in general believe in fairness and strive in their way to make the world a better place. They often accomplish this in their work, but in their personal lives they are often much less successful, for they are often blind to the small injustices committed within their own relationships. So here are a couple of examples of Libra Sun Decan. I'm sorry, Sun Libra Decan ones. Mohandas Gandhi, Jimmy Carter, the French Fifth Republic, French Fifth Republic horoscope to be specific, Russia horoscope, Michael Douglas, Ian McShane, Will Smith, Christopher Reeve, Brigitte Bardot, yes, Tommy Lee, Heather Locklear, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Mark Hamill, Angie Dickinson, Jim Henson, Olivia Newton-John, Julie Andrews, Sting, Bruce Springsteen, F. Scott Fitzgerald, T.S. Eliot, The Discovery of Neptune, and Sonny and Cher.
All right. That's awesome ones that they have there.
Mhm.
Okay, so Libra Decan 2s. Were born October 1st to the 11th, and Libra Decan 2 is ruled by Saturn in both systems, Aquarius triplicity. Triplicity, you know what I mean? Triplicity. For
Yeah.
some reason, it comes out a little bit funny sounding. But, anyways, the sun charms its way through the constellation of the crow, the flying fish, herdsman, and the dragon. Decan 2 is from 10 to 19 degrees. And here we find ourselves in one of the most notorious zones in fixed star astrology. This is the home of Algorab in the crow, but it's all wrapped up in the finest Venetian silk. This is where victims of the crafty crow don't expect such a low down and dirty attack from your divinely adorable Libra Decan 2. You have to understand, crows are birds of prey. They have to be themselves. Yes, they are stunning. Blueback raven feathers. And yes, they look magical. But if you don't watch your back, they really unscrupulous ones will rook you before you can say raptor. These folk, these folk are your typical iron fist in a velvet glove, which makes them all the more dangerous. Never, ever, ever underestimate Libra Decan too, even if they look like Barbie. Okay, a lot of them will play dumb deliberately. Like I know speak English was one of my dad's tricks. Gold diggers and gigolos are found here as well. With Saturn as the ruler of Decan too, Venus ruled Libra naturally gravitates towards a generous sugar daddy or mommy. It's in their nature. Okay? We have all seen the best and worst of this Decan over the years. Libra Decan too are utter opportunists. They live by their very sharp wits and dive in and out of trouble with awesome grace. They also seem to land on their feet no matter what, like the cat with nine lives. Sometimes these folk appear very shallow and can seem like charlatans. This is because they can't convince themselves. So they often feel they are imposters when they have to mix with the bigwigs, a flying fish out of water. They also have genuine talent. The problem, ironically, is their talent for taking shortcuts to fame and fortune. Their fast rise up the ranks can draw envy and suspicion from others, and they often miss out on the value of gaining wisdom. They are seen as sweet hustlers, stylists, and seers. With age and a few hard knocks, Libra de Cantu becomes bona fide, for they learn fast once they truly apply themselves. Another talent these folk have is thrift shop bargain hunting. They can manage to live on very little if they have to and still look $1 million. Libra de Cantu has the knack for pulling money out of the air when pushed. Their prophetic ability is useful for gambling, where they can be very lucky if they only remember to quit while they're ahead. Otherwise, the stock market is also a good place to find a Libra decan too. The sun is in its fall in Libra, and indeed, this can be the zone of the fallen woman. Libra predecessors, Virgo resonated with innocent Persephone as Ceres, the younger version, falling into the underworld of the northern autumn, whereas Libra Decan too resonates very strongly with Eris. Eris is Venus's dark raven sister. And here Saturn ruling this decan of the carrion bird is very apt. The lunar mansion, Hasta, contains all the stars of Corvus. Hasta means hand and also laughter, and the crow's cry sounds rather like a wicked crone's laugh. Libra Decan too describes the adjustment of balancing the scales of the equinox. There is volatility, feeling that some part of you is still left in another season or another world. And Libras are famous for their indecision. Maybe they feel they lose a part of themselves if they commit to anything. At the same time, they long for a relationship, of course, and that's what Librans are famous for, aren't they? The best of Libra, the Cans too, has an uncanny ability to blend into almost any situation. They are equally at home with dukes or beggars. Their ability to harmonize makes them kind of great as singers, artists, and raconteurs. They also have an impeccable taste, making them natural stylists and interior designers. The worst of Libra too, they are gifts that promise such amazing things on the outside, but can make you feel bereft and shortchanged when you see the inside. Sun Libra twos appreciate for the aesthetic can work against them. Appreciation for the aesthetic can work against them, also making them feel ugly and insecure about themselves when they don't match up to their high standards of beauty. Even if they are perfectly symmetrical in every way, with the sun in its fall in Libra, there can be self esteem issues. Therefore, the native can be too accommodating to others and find themselves stuck in an unsuitable partnership where they are constantly dominated. However, if these folk are pushed too far, their crafty, vengeful side can come out very forcefully when they experience a fiery, triggering transit from Uranus or Mars. For example, feel their wrath. Okay, so watch out for that. Okay, so some examples of them is the Vatican. Interesting, right? The Jesuit Order, Aleister Crowley, Vladimir Putin, Margaret Thatcher, Heinrich Himmler, Irma Gries, Eleanor Roosevelt, Luciano Pavarotti, Bruno Mars, David Lee Roth, Paul Simon, Buster Keaton, Clive Owen, Sigourney Weaver, Charlton Heston, Susan Sarandon, Alicia Silverstone, Chevy Chase, Paul Hogan, Kate Winslet, Matt Damon, Roger Moore, and Guy Pearce.
Right
All right.
on.
Yeah.
So finally, our last round. Libra Decan 3. This is October 12th through the 22nd. This is 20 to 29 degrees. Libra Decan 3 is ruled by Jupiter and Mercury, so a Gemini triplicity. The sun saunters through the constellations at 20 to 29 degrees Gemini of the Virgin, the herdsman, the flying fish, the great ship, the centaur, and the water snake. There is a big feeling of transition here while we sail into the unknown. At the same time as we dip our feet into the occult, there is great potential for illumination. When Mercury is at play, you are a when Mercury is at play, you are a social butterfly, fair and balanced, an excellent mediator, a great storyteller, and a bit vain. It does seem like the natives, Libra Decan 3, need to go through a period of initiation, maybe an endurance test that involves some suffering. They tend to have to go through some tough times where they are pushed to prove themselves. They may be harshly judged because their ideas of or behavior is controversial in some way. These folk may be exiled and painted out to be the bad guys, even though Libra Decan 3 actually see themselves as purer than pure. They are anti-heroes, fallen souls, and the victims of society, and will fascinate them. But ironically, in helping society's outcasts, the Libra Decan 3s become the outsider themselves. So, Libra Decan 3 cannot help but pick up the collective mirror and reflect back to the world its shadow side. This decan is attributed to the goddess Nemesis, the myth itself making this decan can be demonized by many, with many not understanding the goddess Nemesis is not the archenemy, but a force which restored balance to life's chaotic wheel. Her name means she who distributes what is due, and she was dispatched to afflict those whose crimes had gone unpunished and to bring things to right for those who had not earned their good fortune. When Jupiter is ruling this decan, it gives them the zeal to make the world a better place. Libra Decan 3 have a great need to purify the earth. This can be intellectual or physical cleansing. The dark side of this can be seen in the eugenics program in the US and Germany in the 1930s. Others may do this through spirituality, but this decan should try to be careful not to overly demonize anything too dark or shadowy with their emphasis on brilliance. For in their effort to bring harmony, they can unwittingly end up creating the very opposite effect, polarity and division. This decan 3, Libra decan 3, are seen as brilliant white intellect and shadow workers. So Libra Decan 3 may be a bit of an intellectual snob. They cannot abide stupidity and seek to enlighten by knowledge. When Jupiter is ruling here, it will stress the importance of higher learning, so they make great teachers. The influence of the Gemini triplicity is also seen as Gemini loves to gather information. The super shiny star Spica here floods this decan with natural talent. Libra Decan 3 are sometimes much better at motivating others than themselves. The first half of the decan is definitely more Venusian, while as we work towards the Mars ruled Scorpio tropical sign that follows it, we see that the more reckless, passionate side of Boots, the herdsman, takes over. When the Libran scales get the balance of the two in perfect harmony, this gives Libra Decan 3 its great success. How can one possibly fail with Spica's genius and talent blended with cocky Arcturus's good luck? Cocky Arcturus's good luck with that, should say. The sun is in its fall in Libra in general and has no dignity in Decan 3 at all. However, the sun is saved by the great fortune of both Spica and Arcturus. The closer the sun is to the middle of the decan, the better the better. The concept of balance here is stronger because these angels appear to have fallen. Sun Libra 3 can be quite brilliant, therefore, they attract a lot of envy. Those that cannot stand to see them succeed will be forever trying to knock these folk off their pedestals. One 3 that Sun Decan 3 develops is a great sense of balance. So, that Libra Decan 3, they have a great sense of balance. They are constantly making small adjustments to grow and evolve their stance, rather like a balancing act, which is apropos for Libra, for the Libra symbol itself. Some Libra Decan 3s are famous for just being famous due to the Arcturian luck of being in the right place at the right time. Other Sun Libra 3s seem to be born lucky, though later in the decan, I think they would need to work harder to hold on to that good fortune. Here are some examples of our Libra Decan 3s: Deepak Chopra, Marie Stopes, Timothy Leary, Kim Kardashian, Zac Efron, Eminem, Snoop Dogg, Oscar Wilde, Divine, yes, Cliff Richard, Montgomery Clift, Carrie Fisher, Sarah Ferguson, Jean Claude Van Damme, Jeff Goldblum, Evil Knievel, Chuck Berry, Johnny Carson, Lee Harvey Oswald, and the just recently great Pele. So we have covered those two signs, Virgo and Libra.
Yeah.
And now we have to, because we can't close the show without doing this, we have to draw a card.
Okay. All right. So, for those that are in Virgo and Libra, I would love you to pull a card, a personal card for yourself. And for the rest of us
Mhm.
on the show, we will draw a card that will hopefully define the Virgo and Libra decans. Okay? All right. Okay.
Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And pulling my card. It is, oh, this is interesting.
What you got? The Hangman?
No, I have the Queen of Wands.
Oh my
So I'm
gosh.
working with, is that what you have?
Close to it. I'm looking at it. I know. Go ahead.
Well, in any case, so I'm working with the Modern Witch Tarot again by
That's
Lisa
a nice
Sturrow.
deck.
I love this deck, and the Queen of Wands. This is a court card, and of course, court cards do two things. They either reflect aspects of ourselves, or they represent other people. And well, we're speaking about the signs here, but this aspect, if you look at both Virgo and Libras, this is the aspect of self that is asking us to really pay attention to, that the nurture that we do to our own inner flame, our light. And we saw with both the signs the information that was focused on where the light was falling within both Virgo and Libra. That was those are very interesting, and the message that I took away from those was that there's caution in various areas within both signs about where the light
Yeah.
falls, the sun's placement at certain points. And this is about nurturing that inner flame, that inner passion, that inner fire. So I think this is also about our
Mhm.
desire and how and hey, we were just talking about, certain signs have certain sexy abilities, that Virgo, just saying, but it is really nurturing that inner fire, that inner flame, that passion, and tending to how your light is managed. I think that is one of the things that this card is calling
Yeah.
out. When I see court cards, it's asking you to really step into that part of self. So I would say to both the Virgos and Libras to really tend to your own inner light,
All right. And
your
the
own inner
reason I went
fire.
like that is because I have the Empress. And if you look in her
Oh,
hand, yeah,
wow.
right? If you look in her hand, she has what's similar to a wand or something, but it has a stone on the end of it, the emerald. And she's sitting there almost like she's leaning, but she's trying to attain balance at the same time. And I'm looking at
Mhm,
it, and throughout Virgo and Libra, I saw this whole thing about claiming their sovereignty, learning to be
mhm,
wise about what it is. And yes, the cautionary tale between the fact that no sign is perfect, and it's asking you to look at the things that you should nurture and look at the things you should look out for. within yourself.
Mm.
And again, I like what you said about nurturing who that is, gaining your own sovereignty, and claiming yourself as that person that you want it to be. So if
Yeah.
there's a bit of warnings on each side, and support as well,
Yeah.
letting you know that you can do these things or accomplish what you want, and your sides that are what you will consider your dark and your light side or whatever it is, work to get it to where you want. Doesn't matter what other people on the outside think, that it's light and it's dark. It's what you want. And if you have to go more to the dark, that's on you, or if you have to go more to the light, that's on you again. But it's claiming and holding on to your sovereignty, I think, is an important
Yeah.
thing, and nurturing
Yes.
that sovereignty of yourself. So do not allow others to have any kind of sovereign over you. And so this is, to me, that balancing act, that trying to attain that peace and harmony within oneself, so then you could be your true sovereign
Beautiful.
self. And that's when I
Beautiful.
looked at it, I was just like, and then when you said what yours was, it just made me, it's almost like if it was saying the queen and the empress, similar, and where they want to go with this. And it's all about
Yeah.
taking care of self. And I love that.
Yes.
So you guys would be
Yeah.
great to add that maybe to your personal card that you draw for yourself. But this is the ones that we have. These are great in helping you guys with your decans. And we got the show
Absolutely.
up, and we wanted to thank all of you in the chat. Uh,
Yes. Thank
yes,
you.
Dr. Tiffany Marie Butler, for being here tonight.
Yay.
We so enjoyed having her here, and I hope you guys all enjoyed the cans, even though it ran a little bit over our regular time. We so enjoy making and doing these things for you guys. And who do we have coming next week?
Next week we have dun, 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 dun. I don't have the video ready. I don't have our video ready, but it's David. Don't
David
we have?
She. Yay.
Yes,
Beautiful.
and I don't have his, but we will see him next Friday. We'll get the ads ready for you
Yeah,
soon. But I am so excited to have him in. I know he's been traveling. I'm waiting to hear some of the
yeah,
stories.
yeah, yeah.
So that will be very exciting. Again, I am Tiffany Marie. Thank
Yes,
you, Dr. Tiffany Marie Butler, for joining us tonight.
yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for being a part of our program. Please do, what do we say?
Like,
Like,
share, subscribe,
subscribe, and
everything else.
share.
Oh, and the can
Yes.
next week will be Scorpio and Sagittarius. And we'll try to
Woot,
do it.
woot.
Yeah, I know, right? Some of the Scorpios were in the chat. Like, we'll get to you. And as usual, again, we thank you all very much for being with us, and have a wonderful night.
Yes. Have a wonderful week ahead. We'll see you
Yay.
next Friday.